Welcome back to the channel, you kooks. Today we are upgrading our battery bank system from old AGM to new SOK Lithium batteries. We're super excited to do this. Also in this video we're going to show you some limitations of the Renogy MPPT DC to DC charge controller and why it did not work in our application. And we'll also show you what we went with instead and why. So stay tuned and here we go. Here is the SOK battery. This is a 206 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. It retails for around $1,030. Sounds really weird, but that's the price. And just right off the bat, I really like it. It's super robust and durable. It has these nice handles. It's got some pretty nice battery terminals and everything you can remove. It has replaceable cells and it comes with a BMS. So it's all ready to go and it has a 7-year warranty. So these batteries are about half the price of what you're going to find something like Battleborn or any other name brand or more popular lithium battery out there. But for $1,000 for 206 amp hours, I think a Battleborn's about $1,000 for 100. So we're excited to test these. You know, the kooks, we always have the off-brand stuff. And SOK is highly reviewed, great reviews. And if Will Prowse backs it, I back it. So we're excited to get these in. And we're going to go in the van and see what we have to tear apart because it's been a while. So we're going to have to see if everything fits. We're going to have to configure some stuff and we're going to throw it all in there. So let's do it. Okay, so I pulled out the inverter already. It was just kind of here in this slot there, sitting on top of my old batteries. These are my lifetime AGMs. These actually are incredible batteries. They last a long time. I'm really impressed with them. And here's kind of the rest of the units. So it's going to be a tight squeeze. I'm going to have to get kind of creative here. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kind of take everything apart and I'm going to see how I can fit everything back in here. All right, so first order of business was I unplugged my solar panel from the roof. I disconnected the MC4 connectors and now I have power off. I don't want current coming through these wires and anything to happen, get shocked or have a electrical short. So I got that out. I'm going to pull this unit out and I'm going to take these batteries out and we're going to see what we're dealing with and if we can fit this stuff in, or we're going to have to get creative maybe. Okay, kooks, got that out. That took quite a bit of finagling. Never mind the OG Van Kooks construction materials, but everything's held up pretty good. It is just 2x4s and some 1xs. I mean, we've had this van for almost 5 years, so you know, Lee would say shitty awesome, and shitty awesome has worked. So really stoked with how well everything held up. It was actually almost bomb proof getting everything out, but we got it out. It was a tight fit. I'm going to get the vacuum, clean everything up, and then we're going to see how we're going to configure this new system. So I pulled out our old charge controller as well. This is the Epever, and this is a great budget unit. We had this thing for almost 5 years and it stood the test of time. So if you just need something basic and cheap that's going to last, I highly recommend this guy. The only thing I don't like is these kind of screw in and they can get loose. Whereas this unit, and I'll show you, it has nice like terminal ends with screws on it. And we'll put a terminal end on them and screw them down and they'll never fall out. Whereas this unit, you just kind of use these screws and clamp them in there, but we have had moments where they've fallen out. So just a note, solid unit. I'll have a link in the description. And also I'm so impressed with how light these lithium batteries are. So this is a 206 amp hour lithium. This is a 100 hour AGM, and this AGM is easily heavier than the lithium. So lithium for the win on the weight and the power. They're great. And I will note, if you're out there just like that Epever, these Lifeline batteries, these things last a long time. They really withstood the test of time for us. So if you're looking at a solid AGM battery, they've done about 5 years. I feel like they could go longer, but we're ready to upgrade, and you can see so are they. So I'm going to clean up shop here. Got a pretty nice mess. I thought I'd find something cool in there, but just a hair tie and some screws. So let's get the vacuum going. So I got the vacuum out. I want to show you guys this. We will be having a review soon for this. This is the Bluetti EB55 portable power station. This is the Cadillac of portable power stations. It's got a nice flip down handle. It's very lightweight. It's got 4 AC outlets. We love this thing. It's even got wireless charger on the top. So this has easily been our most favorite unit we've tested. So let's get into the cleanup here and let's see if the vacuum powers. Ooh, I guess not. So not enough power out of this. I think you just saw there it was peaking at about 700 or so. Let's see. Yeah, I think that this is a little too much for the unit, but this is a really good unit. Check the review. I'll link it when we get it up, but the Bluetti power station, we really like this. So it looks like I'm gonna have to go run a cord back to the house. So I'll grab that, you know, living in the old school times here. Got them in, they fit pretty good. I'm gonna make something to reinforce them and maybe strap them down. I'll do that at the end. The first order of business is I'm gonna hook my ground up and then I'm gonna wire the batteries in parallel. All right, kooks, so I'm having some problems here. The batteries are all hooked up, but I'm kind of just stuck in a bulk charge and the batteries are reading 14 volts. So I'm gonna hook up a bus bar. I bought a bus bar on Amazon. Got this Rax Racing. I bought this one because it's made in the USA. And I wanted just to support a nice local company. So I got these bus bars and I'm gonna put these in here somewhere. I think I might try to keep them low and out of the way. They're pretty massive, but that's just kind of what I got. And I'm gonna hook up this and see if I can get a common negative going. And it looks like my light just turned off. So I gotta figure out what's going on. I also got this DC to DC monitoring screen. This unit doesn't really have any way to monitor other than plugging in a screen. So I'm gonna plug this bad boy in and then we're gonna see what's going on. Now I'm just gonna hook up my common negative down here on the chassis to the bus bar. And then I'm gonna take all this off first and then I'm gonna rewire everything. So I plugged in the monitor. You can't see it here, but if you can, I doubt you can, but it says E10. So I'm getting an E10. And I looked up E10, PV input over voltage. And I just checked the specs on my panel and it's about 32 volts. We can see what it's pulling right now. You can see I'm getting 33 volts. And the max on this unit is max solar input voltage, 25. So it looks like this unit is not going to be compatible here in my setup. So it looks like I figured this out. I have a few more things to say about this unit. It has some cool features, but I mean, if it can only really input that many volts, that's not going to cut it for a lot of applications. So this unit's not going to work. So I am going to take everything apart. Guess I should have checked the max voltage before I bought it, but it's not going to work. So I might just have to buy a DC to DC charger. But in the end of the day, this Renogy MPPT DC to DC charger, in our circumstance, it's definitely kook disapproved only because the 25 volt solar input. I was battling back and forth with this thing. I could have just looked off right off the bat, 25 volt solar intake. Our solar does about 32. In general, I don't think that's awesome. I mean, if you have an off-grid application and you want a charge controller that also charges off your alternator, just make sure your solar panels are less than 25 volts. So in the end of the day, this isn't going to work out for us. It may work out for you. It is a good unit. I'm not taking anything away with it. To have everything built into one, I'm actually kind of bummed it's not going to work for us because this thing's actually really cool. So at the end of the day, I think this will work for you. Just make sure your solar panels can do the 25 volt input. And the SOK batteries are great. They're well built and they haven't lost any charge. They've been great. It's only been a few days. It's hard to give a battery review just off a few days. I'm not going to get too technical on the specifications, but if you want to see some technical specs, Will Prowse. I'll link the video in the description. He gives them a thumbs up and he breaks them down way more thorough than I ever would. So you could check that out. And also, if you want to upgrade, these batteries are about $1,000 for 200 amp hours. So it's a great deal. These batteries are definitely kooks certified. Thumbs up. And we suggest you get them. And if you do, you could help us out by clicking the affiliate link below. Also on the Renogy unit, it doesn't come with any monitoring systems. So you do have to buy an additional screen. This one's about 50 bucks. You could also go with the Bluetooth option. I didn't want Bluetooth because I just don't want that Bluetooth signal sending through my van 24/7. And I just don't want to have to check my phone to see what my battery's charged at. So in the end of the day, I think Renogy could do a better job at maybe including a monitoring unit with the unit. It is 260 bucks. It's kind of expensive. So I think we're just going to switch back to our old unit, the Epever, and I'm going to get a Renogy DC to DC charger so I can charge off that alternator while we're going, and we'll be installing that soon. I figured I could just use my Tracer 30 amp charge controller since it does have a 100-volt input. I recrimped some wires and put everything back together and installed the unit back in place. Now I had to program the battery for my lithium batteries. The unit isn't originally built for lithium batteries, but it does have a user setting. I went through the parameters and tried to set it to this unit, but I could not get the solar panel to pull in any amps. I was getting volts, but no amps. I'm not sure if the charge controller was broken or it just wasn't working with my batteries. So I decided to pull it all back out, and now I went back online and checked for another unit. So I started this video off. I thought I was going to do a nice, cool review of the DC to DC MPPT from Renogy. I really like that unit, but without it being able to do this, I can't use it. So if they made a new unit that could handle more volts input, I would love to try it, but I'm going to have to switch over to this other Renogy, and this is the Rover 30 amp MPPT, and we'll get into this. So the first order of business is just taking this unit out. I'm going to pull it all out and then I'm going to throw the new one in. Okay, so I got the unit in and I'm going to just start hooking everything up. I am getting amperage on the panel now. You can see I got the 28.5, 28.4 volts, 14.4 amps. So I'm getting power now, the amps. That is great because I was not getting that. And now that's just showing that my fan is running. It's pulling 1.4 amps. Let's set it for my lithium now. I'm going to get it to this voltage screen. So 13.5. Then I'm going to hold down enter as I read the instructions. And then it looks like I can select my battery type. Lithium. Awesome. I'm going to set it here, 12 volts. All right, so now it's set for my lithium batteries. Get back to the main screen. So now let's just see if it actually charges. We're at 13.5. It's a beautiful sunny day. I'm going to see if I'm actually going to get this bad boy charged today because I have not been able to charge it in the last few days. So let's just see what happens here. I'm going to go make breakfast. All right, it's a new day. I've charged back up. I'm at 14.3 volts now. And I can just show you I'm getting amperage now on the panel. And you can see I'm getting 32 volts, 15.6 amps. So the Rover is working. I will point out what I do like about the Rover. The Epever had these slide in as well. These kind of slide in, screw down cables. This one actually has nice beefy screws and bigger slots, and they seem to tighten down better. So I do like this system over the Epever here. So I'm excited. It's in. It's going to work out. To wrap this video up, it looks like the MPPT DC to DC 50 amp Renogy charge controller. While it does seem like a really awesome product, it does have some limitations. It does not have a display screen. That's kind of a letdown. At least the Rover has one on the unit. And also it only has that 25 volts input on the solar. So that's a little bit of a letdown. It's a really cool unit. If you're pulling less than 24 volts, it's a great product for you. It does come in around $300, so it is pretty pricey. But with that built-in DC to DC charge controller, it is almost worth it. As you see, the Rover here, it's about 140 bucks. I got it on sale on Amazon for $109. But if you paired that with the 40 amp DC to DC charge controller, it's going to be about $340. So that is $40 more than the MPPT DC to DC. But if you're trying to pull more than 25 volts, you're going to have to go ahead and go with the Rover, and you can get a DC to DC. On top of that, you can go with the 20 amp DC to DC charger for charging your lithium batteries while you drive, but that's going to be about $250, so that is $50 cheaper. I was kind of excited about the 50 amps from the MPPT DC to DC because I only have 300 watts of solar. I thought that extra 50 amps while driving would get me that charge that I needed to get to 14.6 and have a full battery. Also, the Epever is a great unit. We had it for about 5 years and it's about $110. And that thing will last. If you want something basic and you just have AGM or another type of battery that's not lithium, that's a good unit. It will last, and you can just get a battery inverter to charge off your alternator. And that's going to be a much cheaper option for you. But I hope this video helps you, kooks. Please like and subscribe, and we'll have more videos coming out. And always, thanks for watching, and share this video if you can, and we will see you guys next time.